Good morning, Flosstube. It's Pam, stitching between the lines. Today is Saturday, December 30th, 2023. It's almost New Year's. Turning the calendar to 2024. I'm not sad about that. 2023 has been a wild ride. What do I gotta say? Flosstube number 133. I had to look at my book. I'm gonna look at my book a lot today, I suspect. Let me just do a little tipping. Okay. You're a little further away than usual because I have so much stuff. So much stuff. Possibly we're going to go in a bit of a different order because there's a few things that I could just get out of the way and be done with. So first of all, I hope everybody had a nice holiday, nice Christmas if you celebrate, whatever you celebrate. We had a very busy, nice Christmas. December is a busy month. My birthday's in December, early December. It was a big one, changed a decade. Yeah. Takes some getting used to that idea. And what else? I think we met after Thanksgiving, so I don't have to recap that. My birthday, we went down to a restaurant that we've always liked. It's changed hands a couple times. We always liked it. It's a classic small town restaurant. It's about half hour away from here. But it was much further, like an hour away from where we used to live. But if we had reason to pass through that area at mealtime, I always wanted to stop there. Nice, long ownership in this restaurant where they cook all their food. There's not that kind of classic Cisco food variation you sometimes find, a lot of times find in restaurants. And then they changed hands. I think maybe we went there once, and then of course there was a whole COVID thing, and then it changed hands. And these new owners, which they've owned it for a few years, have really dressed it up, made it look nice. Still same building, but just looks fresher, newer. And we just have never had reason to go down there. So for my birthday, we went down there for brunch. It was excellent. And then we went to one of my favorite small towns to walk around, which is the town at the southern tip of this lake. And it was a rainy, kind of yucky day, so it wasn't crowded. And went to the little shops and so on. And, I like to go there when it's time to choose the stocking stuffers, that kind of thing. So it's fun. So that was a nice way to spend my birthday. My kids always come. The tradition is that they come and we put up the Christmas tree. We used to do the whole 9 yards of, I'm going to put my hands down, of going out to the tree farm and cutting down and blah, blah. And we've decided, for a variety of reasons, probably I've talked about over the last couple of years, that we bought an artificial tree. It's about 10 feet tall and it's not real wide, maybe 3 feet. I don't know. Probably if I measure it, it's a little more than that, but it's very tall and narrow. And maybe I'll get a picture, put it here, because it's coming down today. That's my last thing to do to put Christmas away. I do a bunch of trees and all the things. It's getting to be a lot. I have a village that I used to be able to put up in our built-in bookcases in the living room in our last house. Here I don't have that right kind of space. So my husband had built a round tree that I can put them on. They're long put away. Day after Christmas, done. Probably we're close to last year being able to do that. Well, my granddaughter will be almost a year and a half next year. So I'm not sure. I don't know. You decorated with a thing for a lot of years. It's maybe time to move on. I can't really interest the kids in taking any of the houses, but that's a whole other story. Another story for another day that I have a feeling a lot of you can relate to. The trying to pass on things that you really enjoyed and the kids aren't real interested in. So anywho, how we went down that path, I don't know. My birthday. Kids came, they are a couple days, my birthday was on a Monday. So a couple days before my birthday, they came and we had lunch, decorated the tree, did that kind of stuff. So that's always fun. Fun tradition. May or may not be able to keep that up. Everybody's lives are getting so much more complicated. But I've enjoyed it while I could. I'm not going to be sad if we got to move on from that. That's just the way it goes. And then we always do a Christmas open house with our friends that don't go south for the winter. Well, one of the couples does after Christmas. Anyway, we always do an open house like on the Sunday before Christmas. Well, this year, somebody got the brainiac idea to make it a dinner party. So we did that, and it was fabulous. It was a ton of work. but we really enjoyed it. It was just a really nice way to spend an evening with our friends. And what else? It's night. Then Christmas. All the kids came home, and the baby was in tow, of course. Everybody's pets. It's a lot of goings on, but we had a really nice time. And then they all go home, and then I start the undecorating process, which is exhausting. Yeah, I trying to decide if I did or didn't put up trees next year. Which ones would I not? Partly, one of the trees I put up, it's a new decorating style this year. I don't have pictures of anything. Sorry. I have a collection of antique postcards for Christmas postcards, and I bought little clips with little hooks, and I put those on the tree along with some red balls and garland that I got at Joann's. It's wide, and it's got Santa heads on it, and then images of postage stamps. I bought it at Joann's last year. It sort of inspired this whole style. So that tree was new looking this year, but that goes in the corner of our breakfast, or the eating area of our kitchen. Our kitchen's divided in half, the kitchen part, and then the area where the table is, and it's 2 walls of windows that look out over the lake. So it's quite lovely. But this time of year, it's kind of a desolate, it's dark early, that kind of thing. So that tree, I put that tree up real early in November, and it just gives that corner of the house such a nice glow. And then I put one in the family room that we see in the evening where we spend our time. Put that one up. It's morphed over the years into what style of things I put on it, but it's a flocked tree. Honest to God, do not ever buy a flocked tree. I swear to God. Every year, what a nightmare. Putting it up and taking it down. You have to change all your clothes when you're done, and all the vacuuming, vacuum. And then this year, the lights gave out one by one. Each little chain of lights gave out. And I think there's 5 or 6 strings of lights that are built in. Well, because they're flocked, also, it's hard to find them. We can see what's out. And I kind of looked, and I saw one bulb I thought was burned out. So I pulled it out. I knew right where the area was, where it was, like this little... Pulled it out, went and found a replacement bulb and put it in there, and went back to the tree. Could not, for the love or money, find the spot that thing went. My husband said what bulbs he could find as he looked at the tree. He thought they looked burned out too. So we ended up just stringing another string. But then the top string went out, so I strung another string. And then, like on Christmas Day or sometime right around there, 2 more strings went out. So in the end, there was 1 string of lights still on. So next year, I'm assuming I'll put it up. We'll have to string lights on it. But there's no repair. I said I was going to get rid of it because it was so annoying. But I can't get rid of something that's sort of like basically perfectly good. I don't know. The decisions we make, suffering over Christmas decorations. When we bought the artificial tree that goes in the living room, I specifically did not want one with lights pre-lit because it's a nightmare when they go out. We had one, the one that's now in the family room, the flocked one. I got rid of the one prior to that because the lights had given out. Is that why? I think I gave it to my son. But I cut off all the lights, which I think when they put those light those trees, I think somebody gets paid by the, whatever those clamps are that go on, because there were millions of them, literally millions of them. And I don't think that's the first tree I've done that to. What a nightmare. So I would rather just string some lights, and when they go bad, take them off and put on new. So yeah. I could put the flock tree out by the road and say free. Probably be gone before the day is out. We live on a highway that we're like on a little road off of a road that's, 55 miles an hour. People do that in the summer with things, but whatever. I don't know. I think this video is going to be so long because I rambled about every thought that came into my brain. Sorry about that. There will be some good information in this video somewhere. It's buried in there. You got to stick with me. Okay, so Christmas, and now we're winding down and putting away the last tree. This afternoon it'll get put away. So it was fun. I love Christmas, but the minute it's over, the magic is gone from all the decorations. I like the music. I have a vast Christmas CD collection, vast, and always in my sewing room, which used to be in a big room in the basement. That was pretty much my only source of entertainment was, my CDs. And after Christmas, I always try to listen to them one more time. Well, this year I barely had time to listen to any of them, so I've been trying to thumb through them and pick out the favorites and play them. I think there might be one more left, but it's a slow go. Next year won't be like this, I swear. I swear. We won't be having a dinner party. I don't know. Whatever. We can make all kinds of things up, excuses. So, here we are at New Year's, and we're having our last video of the year, which brings up things like what I do in December, so my whips, what am I doing in the next year, some other interesting news, and I've read some books. It's just hard to believe, right? So we're going to do the books mainly because one book is sitting here and my iPad is over here waiting for me to show you some book covers on there so I can talk about them. So one of the books I read, I've talked before about my fascination with the whole DNA and what you can learn. I love the crime TV, like Forensic Files and stuff where like DNA solves the crime. It's just fascinating for me, I guess. And then what is revealed when people do like ancestry and that kind of thing. So I've read some really good books and I have talked about them before. And but the latest one was this one, An Only Child No More, which was by Martha LaValle. Interesting story. Terrible writing, just terrible writing. She was an only child that came late to her parents. Okay, thanks to editing, I misspoke about the book I'm about to show you, and then all of a sudden it came to me. So, An Only Child No More by Martha LaValle, who discovered after her parents had passed that her father, when he was in the war and over in Germany, fathered a child. And through a DNA search, ancestry search, the half-brother's family started to look for who his father was and where his father was, and the only living relative that could be reached was Martha LaValle. As an adult, she was an only child, and she doesn't have any children, and so there were no siblings, but somehow the link, through the internet. And so her discovery, a lot to grapple with when you think you know your parents and know their morals and standards in life and all that. So she had a lot to grapple with, and she ended up, going over to Europe and visiting and getting to know the family. So it was an interesting story, but the writing was so amateurish. It was just insane. Like every little thought that she had that was so stupid, we had to hear about. So I really never want to diss an author because somebody wrote their, clearly from their heart, their life story. But whoo, all right. Then I read another. Let me get this up. 2 books actually by the same author. Hang on. Love my Goodreads. Don't ask me to friend you. I'm not just where I keep my books. I don't really, need anybody to friends. Oh, I went to the one I just talked about. Okay. So I read another Anne Leary book, which I have talked about 2 other ones of hers lately, in the last year anyway. I read bear with me for a minute so I can recap. Oh, The Good House. That was the one. I read it in the summer, The Good House, that really got me started on Anne Leary. And then I read the story about her being in Europe, going into a premature labor for her son, and she had to stay there. So that was really interesting. Well-written, autobiographical story. So then I read The Foundling, which is another one of her books. So there's the cover, The Foundling. It was horrible. It was just horrible. The amateur nature, I feel like it took place maybe in the 40s. a young woman whose parents had passed away, had gone to like secretarial school, and she ended up going to work at this they used a lot of politically incorrect words in that era, so excuse me when I say how they describe it, if I should erroneously use a word. When people back in that era when people were mentally handicapped and went into some kind of living situation, they called them asylums, or they said people were insane and so on. And girls specifically, especially if they were like learning disabled, or parents couldn't control them, or they lived in a way that husbands didn't approve of, maybe wanted to assert their independence, a husband could have a wife committed to one of these asylums, and that's where they stayed. And this one was a home specifically for the childbearing age women. And the main character was hired by the woman who ran the place to go and be her secretary. And the story was interesting if you have an interest in that kind of environment, but it was so stupid. Just the thoughts that the main character had. Oh no, what if somebody reports back to Dr. So-and-so that they saw me kissing whoever on the street? Because she and a friend used to, Sunday afternoons off, would go to church, go meet with a couple young men that were, boyfriends or whatever, and go have lunch, and everything was above board and everything, but the thoughts were so amateurish. It was shocking that this was written by the same author who has written these other books that I've read. It was just stupid. And then I had gotten from the library Anne Leary's The Children. This book I found very interesting and very readable, about a blended family. The mother had two daughters, and the father had two sons. So they get married, blended family. And the mother and the two daughters with the dad live in his ancestral family home on a lake. I don't know, New Hampshire, Vermont, I don't know. Near a little town where there's a boarding school, and it's nice. This is just background. It really didn't have a huge impact on the story. The brothers were a little bit bitter that their stepsisters got to live in the house with their father. I don't think I'm saying anything new about blended families or anything, but that house was their birthright. It would be inherited by them. So fast forward to today, when the story's taking place, the main character is the younger daughter of the mother. She lives in the house with her mother, a widow, and they have lifetime rights to the house. And then it goes to the brothers. So it's very interesting, the characteristics of the daughter that lived at the house, her mother, the sister that had moved away, the two boys. The youngest of the boys comes home with a girlfriend, later fiance, that is the real story. So it was good. It was a good story. And then yesterday, I just finished this book, which on my iPad in Goodreads doesn't want to open up. There it is. It's called Mrs. Oh, bummer. Let's go back. Okay, I'll try not to touch anything. Mrs. by Caitlin Macy. I really enjoyed this book. Main character is a very likable woman, young mother, stay-at-home mom, living in New York City with her daughter and her husband. Daughter's in preschool, so that's where the social circle starts to come in, is the other preschool parents. The daughter is going to a very exclusive preschool. I forget how that came to be, because that wasn't really what they wanted for her. I think they were given a scholarship. And so then there's some other women that she meets, and one of them she encounters is somebody she knew when she was young. And the story is primarily about her and what's going on in her life, but you get to visit some of the other people's lives. And it's not really about the excesses. It's just almost just a matter of, this is the life they're leading. They have nannies, they have housekeepers, they live in opulent homes. It had everything I like in a book, a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of what's going on. The main character's husband works for the U.S. Attorney's Office, and he's investigating some people. And it's interesting. It was good. I really, really enjoyed it. There's not a lot of extremes in the book, like horror or scary or whatever, but there's some, it's interesting. I found it to be very interesting. I would have liked to have delved deeper into some of the qualities. For example, the main character's husband is described right in the flap of the book as a heavy drinking attorney. And yeah, he drank and couldn't wait to have a drink after Lent when he'd given up alcohol, but that really wasn't delved into. There was room for this book to be a lot longer. So very much enjoyed it. I've never read anything by Caitlin Macy. I might look and see what else there is that she's written and give that a go. So it's always nice to find an author that has a book or that has written a book that you enjoyed, to go see what else. And I think Ann Leary maybe has another book I'm going to look into. So we'll see. So yeah, a lot of good books I managed to read in December, which is kind of funny because, I don't know where I found the time, which sometimes that's how I find the time, is I don't have time to sit down and stitch. There's not I worked on a lot of things, but I didn't accomplish a lot. I have a little bit of time, or I have an appointment and I take a book, or I just have a half an hour, that kind of thing. So I might pick up my book if it's a good one. So let's go real quick to some stitching. I did it, and I've given this has gone home with its owner. I did finish Rabbits in the Round, FFO'd it. I'd finished the stitching and showed you. FFO'd it into an ornament, sent it home with my daughter, picture here. And then I also FFO'd Spooky Countdown by The Primitive Hare. So I had grand ideas. I had grand ideas of ordering custom frames from, I've watched various videos from people who do their own framing. And I was framers.com, maybe frames.com. I don't know. I was signed up for their emails so I could get their, notifications when there's free shipping, blah, 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 a sale, whatever. So I went to pick something and I couldn't actually custom order a size. It would determine for me some of the sizes. Like if I wanted the length, it chose the width. If I wanted a width, it chose the length. So that was very unrewarding. So I went down and I looked. I have some frames I have repurposed from previous things like kids' art projects, which is where this one comes from. It's super simple black and actually is the perfect choice, even though I had grand ideas of a nice ornate frame. But because of the very simple boxing in of each of these pictures, this simple black frame, and it's not perfectly sized, so I tried to size the top the same as the sides and then skimp on the bottom, which I kind of like. I kind of like that. I like how it worked out. And yeah, it didn't cost me a fortune. It cost me nothing. So yeah, I had a piece of mat board. It had a glass on it, and then it had the picture mounted on a piece of foam core. So I used the same foam core already cut to lace the picture onto. And then I have a bunch. My son is a graphic designer, and I have all kinds of his poster board things, projects from college. I've pretty much pilfered almost all of it down. I think I see one more good size piece over there. And so I did the backing. I could do previously when it was backed, it was covered in a black paper, but I have my thingamajigger that I put in, and I've realized I need to put one here and one here. So I got it back out. You know what I'm talking about, the thing that puts these things in. The point driver. I'm looking at the box over there. So I'm quite happy with it, considering the investment was nada. So yay me on that one. So that took care of almost everything. I'm going to talk about one thing that I got as a gift for Christmas. Honestly, Shannon Christine's Sugar Plum Village. I saw it. It was in my 1, 2, 3 wish list, and so when I saw the package I thought, oh my gosh, that is going to be gorgeous. Even more gorgeous than on the picture on the website. And I bet in real life stitching it, it's going to be beyond gorgeous. Look at those colors. Like how sweet candy, gingerbready, sugar plum. So it's not, I was thinking about starting it, but I haven't, because December, I showed you in my video on December 1st, all the things that maybe I'd start in December, and I have started some of them, and I started something that wasn't in that list, and then I worked on some other things, and then I have my actual whips to show you, to include a whip parade, because I'm going to show you like half of my whips in what I worked on and started in December, and the rest we'll just include them and make it a parade. And then we'll talk about 2024 plans. So lots of planning videos out there, lots of grand plans, not from this girl. So the first thing I worked on in December was I put in another, oh, sorry, I have the pattern, everything's right in order, right over here, but I didn't have the picture out on the front. Tiny Modernist 12 Christmas Carols. And I believe when I showed you in December, let me look before I tell you. For sure, I had these two done. I forget the status of this one. Oh, yeah, okay. So I think I needed to finish. Ooh, I found the needle. What I don't have is a foam, like a quilt board thing to show you on. I finished the one where the people are decorating the tree, and I did the one underneath it. And then I just started. I must have had some red thread left. I started the baby, it's cold outside words. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. I love this. I want to work on it nonstop. So what I hope, I'm kind of, sort of, we'll talk about that and plans. I'm not going to tell you plans until we get to the plan part. Just have to keep stopping me. I'll stop myself. Then the next thing I worked on, so that was a whip, not a new start. That was a new start in November. Then I worked on self-portrait, which is the Disney one. I think I worked on this in November too. Having trouble finding the picture. Were you hearing my dryer run? It just shut off, and it's just background noise. I didn't even really hear it. So that's where I am. I really thought I would finish his stool, but it was giving me fits. Holy cow. I have done other Disney pictures. Not the big, huge, like Kincaid, Disney scenic pieces, but a couple other Disneys over the years. And they are so fussy. It's hard to believe the amount of fussiness that can go in. And I was just having a heck of a time keeping my place on those stool legs. Don't know. It just was the way it was going. So I didn't get as far as I wanted, but I worked on it for a few days. So let me put things back. I do not need any lost pieces. And then I started a Twin Peak primitive pattern that is, I'm sorry to say, was exclusive to their Twin Peak primitive. Oh, it's a limited edition. Twin Peak primitives, exclusives. I don't know. You order the whole kit. And that picture, I don't think, does this justice. You get the fabric, you get the threads, you get a few other fun things, like maybe I got the project bag. And so I worked on the house. Got it to a point that there's fill-in that I can do, and of course the roof, but I started the little top of the tree. So it's kind of done like a log cabin with that striped effect. So I did all that. How many days did I work on that? 1, 2, 3. I worked on that 3 days. That's pretty darn good. I went to, Oh, on the third day, I went to a sewing day for my quilt guild once a month. We have a sewing day where we have the church space reserved, and we go, people bring their sewing machines and stuff. I didn't really have anything sewing like that to work on. I brought this, so I had a whole afternoon, several hours anyway, which was enjoyable. Then I worked on Luca S's Mouse with Fir Tree, which is so cute. I can't stand it. Holy cow. Doing it on the kit fabric because it's an opalescent. I gotta figure out where I am. His scarf around his neck, and then the scarf dangling. I think what I worked on was the dangling and some of the coat. Just a few days work. Oh, one day. I worked on it for one day, so I don't know what I did. Some amount of something there. Not a lot, but it was out, and I worked on it for a day. And then, what did I do? Oh, I had another start. I started, and this I showed that I would start this Croquette a Go-Go, Believe in Christmas. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, this pattern. This is another one I'd like to work on exclusively. I did the Santa and I did the sleigh. The colors are so vivid. I mean, look at the picture. Oops. There's no way you would guess that there was so much vivid color there. Just gorgeous. Just a gorgeous piece. I feel like the way the pattern is, it's hard to see in the picture. There's a lot of like things are boxed in little segments. It's very easy to chop up and use just the sleigh for something, just a reindeer for an ornament, something like that. So, very enjoyable piece. Let's take another peek. I don't know what this is on. Something very natural, linen. I don't know. I'm sure it's written somewhere, should anybody need to know, but I don't think it's anything worthy of being a copycat about. And then I have some stitchy friends that one of them suggested maybe we needed to do a sal with Fabulous House Number 1 by Cottage Garden Sampling, Santa's House. So somewhere, and I cannot find where, and I don't know if maybe it wasn't supposed to be posted or if it was just a sneak peek, I saw all 12 houses. All done, like a complete collage of all the houses, like if you were going to do them on one fabric. And I didn't like any of them but Santa's House. So I didn't even have to think twice that this is probably the only one I'm doing. Who knows, when they hit the light of day, maybe I'll change my tune. I've seen what came out next is the castle. Again, don't really care. I heard maybe there's a lighthouse. I'm sure I saw it. It just didn't register as anything I cared about. So I'm doing it on a piece of vintage country, vintage storm, I think. 1/1, 1/2, 1 thread over 2, 1 fiber over 2. Yeah, all the words are the same. 1 thread over 2 threads of the fabric. So that came out really cute. This one I'm also seeing in a very like easy to divide up chunks. Did one, the next time I work, maybe I'll get this done, that kind of thing. So that's a cute, there's 3 or 4 of us doing it, and a very loose sal. There's no like deadline or work on it on this particular day. That's not how I roll anyway. So that was another new start. Then I had hoped, and I did manage to work a little bit on Land That I Love, Teresa Kogut. I had started this at some point, probably last summer-ish, and I had started with the strawberries and the tree, and when I worked on it back then, I had hoped to get all the buds done, the buds and the flowers, and I didn't, but I did this time. Plus I got the start of the ribbon threads that run through there. So this is done on a piece of 20 count Aida. I don't know the details right here and now. It's all on my iPad. It's a big one. Ooh, Let me secure my needle, just trying to make its way out. So I finished all the buds and the flowers, and I managed to go across with the blue color. The rest of the colors that weave through here aren't a continuous solid line, so I wanted to get the solid line done. So it's quite cute, quite pretty. 20 count, maybe cinnamon roll from Silk Weaver, but nobody can hold me to that. I'll look in here real quick. It's a good color, I think, for this. I'm also doing it with the Vicky Clayton Silks, which has its challenges. Vintage Country Mocha Ada. So no, not Silk Weaver. 20 count, which when I first started it, this is the first thing I ever did on 20 count. I really was happy with working on it because I could see it without my magnifier. This time not so much, but partly it's probably because I'm working at night or without the best of lights, so that's a struggle. And finally so far, there's still today and tomorrow of January 2020, or December 2023, which I plan to start something. I got out Star Village, which was a Mother's Day gift from my daughter, and I started it right away that day on a piece of opalescent, I don't know what, found in my stash. I had done the tree when I first started it, and then I got the house done, which took me forever. Like, I worked on it, Star Village, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Today being the 5th. I finished it this morning. But I have been so tired some days and so much not time that I do like the frame of one window and then I'm going to bed. So took me forever to get that tree done. Now the rest of the house, there's a house in front of it. So this is the house I did. So it's cute. Very much. This purple is like something lilac, something. Let me look, because I'm very curious as to a French lilac, which I think is a Gentle Arts. Yep, Gentle Arts. What has happened to French lilac? It is nowhere to be found. Nowhere. No online store, no in real life store. Nowhere, no Etsy, no anybody. I was on the, I think I remember talking about this last video. I was on the Notify Me at 123 Stitch, and I got notified that it was in, and I didn't order fast enough, and that was gone. So it made me kind of think that claiming it was in was a mistake because nobody else has it. It seems to be nowhere else. So I don't know. I just picked a purple. I don't think it's going to matter. It's purple on a house. Not a real true color for houses, I don't think. I'm not feeling. So those were 3 new starts and 4 whips. So let's do a real quick whip parade with the remainder of my whips. I had hoped to get back to this just even for a day. My Heaven and Earth Design, Jane Wooster Scott, Vibrant Vistas, because I don't have a lot further to go to finish an actual page, to have an actual page finish, which maybe I have more than I think, which I think is this. So now it needs to come out of its frame because this is not going to get work done for a while. With that much, I can be positive. So I'm just moving the pattern. Another whip in my whips is Barbara Anna Designs Hocus Pocus. I worked on this. I started this as my accidental start one day. I sat down to do something else and I started something and I worked on it, I think 2 times, not like for any duration, just I had the cauldron almost done, so then I finished the cauldron, and that's where it is, and that's where it's going to stay for a while. It's nice to have it started though, because then it's just an easy pickup. I actually couldn't find this today. Got worried. I'm like, what the heck? Where did it go? It's just inobtrusively in a Christmas project bag. I don't know. But it's probably, like I said, probably not going to be worked on for a while. And then also in my whips, which I really had hoped this could be a finish in November, is Holiday in a Bottle by Cute Patterns by Maria, which turns out to be way more complicated than you would imagine. Way more. So November, slow, slow go. That's where I left it. Holy cow. Holy cow. Let me just say. It's another pattern I think I started to have to highlight what I had done, which is just not something I generally need to do. But there's so much back stitching and there's just so much going on in this little pattern that it's more challenging than I expected. And I have not touched for a while, excuse me, Bucilla's Rural Post Office at Christmas. I think it came up twice on my Whipco, or I don't know, or was it called twice in the same month? And so I don't know. It didn't get a lot of work, but oh, actually that's not entirely true, because last February I was doing all of this. All of this was like last January or February's Whipco call, and then I did all this, which is quite a lot. I actually did do a lot last year. And look how beautiful it is. Oh. We'll talk about that in plans. Another needle. I felt my hand catch on it. So Rural Post Office at Christmas. I showed you that. The only one I'm not pulling out is my Ellen Chester. I had it out a whole bunch in fall videos. So this, we're going to leak into plans just a tiny bit. This, I'm determined, will be a 2024 finish. I've been working on this since, oh my gosh, well, in my previous house, I started at, boy, I want to say 2017. I had it set up, our family room in that house. We had a bunch of, it was in our basement, so it was a very long finished, we had a finished basement. And we had a couple different desk areas set up, because when the kids are growing up, computer desks, there were a couple of them. And, you know, it was just family friendly. Everybody could do what they needed to do down there. We could all be down there together. So kids are gone, kids are grown, kids are in college or whatever. I started this and had it all set up on a frame on one of those desks. And I only worked on it when I took the time to actually sit there, which wasn't all that often. So it got off to a slow start, and then I've worked on it a little bit more steadily when it became like my month-long focus. We've talked about that before. I choose a pattern, usually a big girl, one of the big ones, to be my monthly focus, and then I pick a minor project to be what else I work on. And this one is going to be my January focus. So it's over half done. And it's gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I'm going to copy Brenda with the titles of her books, which is the American translation of the books. So I have, how many do I have to finish? Oh dear. I don't think I have a picture out. We will get a picture out. No, that's the pattern. I have the pattern copied. I have pattern pages in page protectors. I have a notebook. This is serious. This is serious. Oh, I showed it to you, right? I showed you. Why didn't you tell me? I'm looking right at it. Or if it was a snake, it would have bit me. So I'm over on this book. In previous work sessions, I could get a book done a week. So 1, 2, 3, 4 if it's in a month. Although once I started encompassing the background, we might be down to 3 books in the applicable background. I have not done this underneath. I intend to. This is tedious a little bit. And the pattern, it's kind of funny. In the picture, they have duplicated the top half inch is the same as the previous half inch. So it really only goes up to there. Does that make sense? How did they do that? It is so gorgeous. I almost think I can see this one without a magnifier. There's a little something fuzzy fuzz. So this is going to be January. This is my grand plans, which I have not really told you the foundation for. We're just going to pretend right this second that I can work on a big project in a month. I plan to work on this one in January, rural post office at Christmas in February, and then back to this one in March for maybe its grand finale. But, and here's the kicker. Here's where we need to, I don't know. There's a little bit of, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. So my daughter had a baby in the summer, and she's going back to work after Christmas. So school district she teaches in starts up on Wednesday, January 3rd. I will watch the baby for the remainder of this school year. So I will have the baby every day. So that may, stitching is going to probably 2024 is not going to be a banner year for stitching. I feel very, very, very fortunate that I can have the baby every day. She's sweet, sweet, sweet baby. I've spent lots and lots of time with her up to this point. So even at 5 months where she's starting to get like that little bit of like, where's mom? Where's mom? Oh, you're not mom. She doesn't do that to me. If mom is nowhere to be found, it's me she looks for when somebody else is holding her or whatever. But so she will come to my house, which is another thing we got to talk about. So we'll just take a little sidetrack for half a minute. A couple years ago, we sold our house in Florida, which is no secret. I went to Florida every winter and usually for a little stretch in the summer. And my husband would come down, go back, whatever. I would spend a long stretch of time, not the whole winter, down there. A couple years ago, we sold that house for reasons that I'm not going to elaborate on, but I will just say I stopped feeling safe down there by myself. A lot changed during COVID. A lot changed in the town even before COVID. So the time was right. We sold it and we bought a house up here off of the lake, closer to the city. And it's actually, we looked for some place in this town where my husband's office is. My husband commutes an hour one way to work. So we decided that when I don't want to be necessarily here all winter long. It's kind of desolate. We don't have any neighbors here in the winter. I mean, I'm only 2 miles outside of town, but I just still feel very isolated. And so we looked for someplace in the town where my husband's office is. We ended up one town away, which is actually one town closer. It's a town. All right, so my husband's office is in one town. My daughter lives in another town, and this is the town in the middle. And we bought a small, what they call a patio home. It's cutest, stinking cutest house. It's just 2 bedrooms. It's on a circle road, and there's not any retirement requirements or anything like that. There's families in there. The school bus comes through. It happens to be I did not know at the time, the same school district that my daughter's in, that she lives in, not that she works in. And so my husband's office is only 2 miles away. So we spent last winter there. We were there for a month this summer with the baby coming and my son getting married. It just put us up closer to the city. My other daughter lives in the town where my husband's office is. She bought a house there a few years ago. So it puts us up there. My son is up in the city. It puts us all up in there in the mix with the kids, and it's a really sweet little house. And yeah, so I will be there this winter watching the baby. So they'll bring her to me because it's, right nearby. And so yeah, it's very, very exciting. I am delighted. I don't know that I can ever do this for other children, grandchildren, future grandchildren. It's just a fortunate opportunity that the timing works in such a way that we will be there. I will be there all the way until school gets out, which is the end of June. We just decided, I did not send my kids to daycare. My youngest daughter went to somebody's house a couple mornings a week for a stretch of time, seasonally, for the kind of work I did. Had a very demanding season. and that's it. That's as close as we came to daycare. So we just feel like, I'm saying the word we, but it's really, I feel that we have a lot of adjusting to do to a child being in daycare. Um, and that if we can keep her out of daycare for the first year of her life, that would be a very fortunate thing. But as we move forward and she has siblings, the imbalance of me watching one while one goes to daycare might not be a reality, and the timing of year might not be a reality, and it's a location based. My son, he lives further away. He and his wife, if they have children, it's just it may not even be conceivable that they could bring me a baby, a child, a toddler, whatever, for a stretch of time. And this is our main house, the house on the lake, so I don't want to be away from it indefinitely. So we're doing this. This is what we're doing. And so I'm thinking my stitching and a lot of things may take a real hit, and that's okay, because the bond I will have with this little girl will be something that can't ever be recreated. And yeah, so I'm excited. I'm very excited. Um, yeah, so I would hope to still make videos every month because she will nap. There are Saturdays and Sundays. I do get to send her home every day. So yeah, there's that. But I really don't know what the stitching future holds for me for the first half of 2024. There's other things happening as 2024 progresses, but that's news and stories for another time. So yeah, can you believe it? I'm so excited. I feel so fortunate that the timing of all this worked. My daughter could take off all the way till Christmas, and that I get the privilege to watch that little sweet girl. So we're heading there tomorrow. We went last year on probably the same day. So this is where 8x8 fell apart last year for me. Last year I never talked about that we were in a different location or why or whatever was going on. I just, I'm not an open book like some people feel they'd like to be on Flosstube. So I did the 8x8 2 years ago and it worked great. I did the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st. It was my variation of the 12x12, which, where's its orientation? I don't know. I heard Pam and Steph talk about it. Starting one new thing every hour for 12 hours leading up to midnight on New Year's Eve, And I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't stay awake late. I'm not a late night person. So I had planned out 8 small starts and I did them. And I worked 3 days, the same hour, like changing. And I finished 1 or 2 of them. By the 3rd day, it was tedium. I was done. But I did manage to finish everything during the year. And then last year, I laid out the plans again. So New Year's Eve was a Saturday, and that turned out to be the day we left this house and went to the other house. And I just I could not keep up with one new thing every hour. But I did finish everything during the year. This year, I'm not even, it doesn't even cross my mind. I'm not doing any of the 24 and 24. I'm nothing like that. I will work like I have worked successfully before. I had kept a little bit of I completed WIPGO in 2023. Every call, everything I worked on as anticipated. So in 2023, just a little tiny recap. In 23, I started the year with 12 WIPs. I'm ending the year, I think, with 15. Currently, I have 14, but I plan to start something today. I got a lot of work to do still around the house. But I am planning to just have one more start. And I'm just torn up over which one because I want to start like 10 things. So anyway, I started with 12 WIPs. I'm finishing the year with 15. I started, I have little hashtags here, and I'm not sure if the math is going to work. I'm not sure how many of these hashes included the new starts I had in December. So I've listed that I started 13 things and finished 13 things, but doing the quick math means I really started 16 things. So 3 starts in December are not included in there. 3, maybe one of them's in there because I'm ending with 15. And then I finished 13, 14 things. That's not bad. I don't do a lot of little tiny things. And when I did my 8x8, which was 8 smalls, I counted that as one whip. So even though I finished all 8 of them, I counted it as one whip on my, you know, my 8x8 took up one slot on my whips. So I really don't do a lot of little stuff. So yeah, not a bad year, right? Yay me. I don't feel bad. 15 whips feels fine. I like that I can just grab something up. I almost don't have any smalls going. I think that Hocus Pocus one I might consider it a small. I thought I was counting Holiday in a Bottle as a small. It's not a small. It is not. So I have some mediums and a bunch of biggies. And yeah, my main determination is to finish Kingdom of Books. And then after that, I'm sure I'll finish the medium ones. But as far as big ones go, all I really crave to start are some giant pieces. So keep going. Just plugging away. I'm not even going to set a whip number as a goal. Just working away. 15 is okay. 12 would be ideal in my mind. I don't know why. Because a lot of them are big ones. I don't know. Whatever. So I'm going to do Kingdom of Books. And then for my minor one, I think I'm going to do another section in the 12 Christmas Carols by Tiny Modernists because they're so stinking cute, and I can do one and then consider it a done. And then I think Crooks Cat a Go-Go's Christmas one. What is that one called? Maybe the other minor one that I work on, because holy cow, is that a cutie. Holy cow, I just can't even. And it's so very divided up. I can divide it up into one little this and one little that. I can't believe the depth of color in his coat. Holy cow, everybody go buy that pattern and stitch it. If I'm going to influence you to start anything, make it be that one. This was an actual pattern, but you can get the download. I think on our Etsy page, maybe. I don't know. This was a gift somewhere along the line. Oh, so cute. So those two, and maybe even Santa's house, might just try to do a little section, but I don't know. I'm planning as if my life is not going to change markedly in the next couple days. You know, she's a baby. She's a very busy baby and a very interested in a lot of things baby. But I'm not going to just stitch in front of her while she's, you know, doing whatever it is, playing in her seat or whatever. So it would be nap time stitching. And then if I can keep my eyes open by evening stitching. So we'll see. By the end of January, when I do my next video, I'll be able to update more accurately. So Happy New Year, everybody. I hope the weather's doing exactly what you like. It keeps trying to snow here, just little flakes, but it has rained in December. So I think the ground is so wet that there's no way snow is going to stick. It just melts the minute it touches the ground. We have standing water out front. It's just, I'm glad it's raining, not snow, because, so have a good one, guys. Talk to you soon.